taxes, then I think a third of their money should be going to taxes. Well, it does.
I'm trying to understand, because you realize the effective tax rate on the poor is less than it is on the rich, right?
Okay, so first of all, I'm not the poor. I'm very close to that line, but I'm not the poor.
Okay, so the effective tax rate on the middle class is less than it is on the rich, correct? What fair share would you like to change the tax rate to on the wealthiest what percentage of Americans so it's a fair share?
So let's say the wealthy 1% could pay, let's say if they paid, let's just give them 45%.
Black people, the insurrection, racism.
We're going to defeat Donald Trump. I'm going to work hard as soon as I win my reelection. And for those that know me, you know that as soon as I win my reelection, I go on to the next fight.
Start with a race that's gained national attention. Congresswoman Cori Bush, a progressive member of the Squad, being challenged by St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell and former state lawmaker Maria Chappelle Nadal. And as you can see right now, Wesley Bell in front by 10% right now over the incumbent Cori Bush.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a great and wonderful day. Well, it looks like our great racist, Cori Bush, Democratic senator for Missouri, is out and is no longer in position of power, and she has to go back to her hole where she came from. And it doesn't seem too great for this woman, because now she's out of the job. And I think it all makes sense considering the people that are, not liking this woman because of, for curing apparently the sick, and, her racist comments over and over again. We'll get to that. But what we have here from CNN saying, here, Squad member Cori Bush loses Democratic primary in Missouri. Missouri Representative Cori Bush has lost her Democratic primary to St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell, securing another win for the same pro-Israel groups that helped oust New York Representative Jamal Bowman 6 weeks ago. Now, my only issue with this is it's because it may get some more warmongers in, and I really don't like warmongers. But if this person's not a warmonger, then by all means, this is a great replacement, because I hate racist people. I hate Cori Bush with every fiber of my being. So, yeah. Bush, a member of the House squad of progressive lawmakers like Bowman, was already earmarked for a tough primary in Missouri's 1st congressional district, which ended up being the second most expensive primary of the cycle, bearing only Bowman's race in New York. Her fierce advocacy for a ceasefire in Gaza added fuel to opponents' fire. So yeah, she is out, and this is the primaries that we have here for the actual projected winner. She lost almost by 10 points, and by 10%, my apologies. It only looks like about 7,000 votes. So it didn't take that much. We can sway a campaign, guys, if we actually put in the effort to vote, by the way. So, yeah, she's gone. She's out. And of course, we have this too as well. Squad Representative Cori Bush claims she miraculously healed a woman with tumors in bizarre research TV interview. So, without further ado, you guys are going to see this great debacle of her, being insane.
This lady came to us and she had these tumors. I mean, she wanted us to feel them. And I just remember I put my hand on her and my hand just began to move. And the lumps that were there were no longer there. And she was so happy and she went on about her day. And I never saw her again.
So you think the tumors disappeared?
I do.
Yeah, so being a lunatic is not usually a good sign for you wanting to be there, right? So this will be quite awful in this sense. And, of course, we have this from Laura Loomer saying, in 2022, Ilhan Omar barely won her primary by 2,046 votes. If 5,000 Republicans cast a ballot against her in the primary on August 13th, she will be removed from office. Minnesota has an open primary. If you live in Minnesota, you're a Republican. I'm calling on you to vote for Ilhan Omar's Democrat opponent in the August 13th primary. You are allowed to do this in the open primary. Omar almost lost in 2022. If 5,000 GOP voters cross over to vote against her on the 13th, we can remove her from office. This needs to happen. Tell everyone who lives in Minnesota. Yeah, so, guys, if she's only lost by that much, All we need to do is just vote. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, 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 vote. And the more that we vote, the more chances we're going to actually win this election, win everything across the board, make it be an absolute huge landslide, and get this country back to where it needs to be. Now, we're going to be showing a bit of, what sort of great face Cori Bush's racism and insanity here, because, at first, we will show you her contradiction consistently over the course of her, senator cycle.
With us because we said ceasefire.
Then she floated another theory contradicting that one. Maybe the whole investigation was just propped up to insulate President Biden from Republican critics.
This person who is a right-wing Trumper type deal, if this person asked the DOJ to open this investigation, and if the DOJ would have said no, then this person could have come back and said the DOJ didn't do this because she's a Democrat and the president is a Democrat, and it's just to cover for Democrats.
Then she compared the government's investigation into her campaign spending to J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI's covert operations to spy on communists and discredit Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Just remember, think about how many folks was actually with Dr. King when Dr. King was doing all the things that he was doing. How many folks turned away from him when the FBI came at him? It's the same type of tactics. If we can throw mud on your name, if we can get you caught up in spending money, if we can get you in a place to where you tired and people don't trust you no more, and all of this, if I can ruin your credibility, then we can ruin you. And then you no longer will be in that seat, and we can put who we want there.
Those efforts to keep staff on board were ultimately unsuccessful. 3 more staffers left Bush's office in the last 6 weeks alone. She's now down to just 1 staffer on her legislative team, and her office is not actively hiring any replacements.
Yeah, so she doesn't seem like she's a great fan of being non-contradicted because she contradicts herself consistently. Now, we're going to jump immediately into her actual constant racism, where she talks about white supremacist that, and it's really quite annoying because this is causing a racial divide among our country, and this is something we do not need. This is not the reality, and these people constantly push the racism towards these people and towards the country, and it should not be warranted here. Here is her talking about in the Senate about, white supremacy and stuff like that.
Here, Mr. Hurd. St. Louis and I are here today once again to focus on the real issues that affect our communities instead of partisan hit jobs. Let me start by saying that the potential mishandling of classified information is a serious issue, and I believe it was appropriate for the Attorney General to appoint both special counsels in the Biden and Trump cases. As my colleagues have pointed out, President Biden fully complied with the investigation conducted by Special Counsel Hurd, who did not find evidence sufficient to warrant criminal charges. Despite this outcome, Republicans have used the Special Counsel's report to further their longstanding efforts to re-elect the former white supremacist in chief, Donald Trump, who faces 40 criminal charges related to the mishandling of classified documents, including obstruction of justice.
Yeah, she's just labeling Republicans and Donald Trump specifically as a white supremacist when that hasn't really been come down to fruition. However, we have a whole bunch of clips of, Joe Biden being a racist, but, we can't go after him. So, again, this is a double standard that they always play, and this is more of her being an actual racist and trying to spout all this racism type stuff. And it's actually quite annoying. It's actually very disturbing that she keeps on doing this stuff. But she is coming down and claiming that that climate change and the oil producers are white supremacists, and they are the reason why a lot of black people are dying, because, they have all the factories next to black people, which I see there's no evidence for this, but of course, this is the game that she plays.
St. Louis has 11 more 90-degree days per year than when I was born. Mr. Lawler, are the overwhelming majority of fossil fuel CEOs black or white?
I don't have the exact numbers, but I would assume they're white.
Yes. Ms. Watkins, is an oil refinery more likely to be situated in a black community or a white community?
I'm not sure how to answer that, honestly. We've got oil refineries along the U.S. Gulf Coast, and we're very proud to be community members there.
Well, it's black. Yeah, it's black.
For years, you all have continued to promote fossil fuels despite knowing that promoting them means promoting environmental racism and violence in Black and brown communities. You all are still promoting and selling fossil fuels that are killing millions of people. This is a striking example of white supremacy. Your profit-driven choices threaten my life, the lives of my family, my neighbors, and our communities every single day. I sit before you as a Black congresswoman with asthma caused by fossil fuels and the tear gas you fund. I have a lot of questions, let me say.
Okay, so we have a few problems here. If she's talking about, like, what's mostly in Black communities, let's go start talking about, Planned Parenthood. If she wants to talk about where fossil fuel companies are mostly have their stuff in Black neighborhoods and they're killing Black people, then we're going to have to go and say that Black women, or specifically Planned Parenthood, is killing more Black people than ever, and that is a problem. And not only that, Planned Parenthood is also in majority of minority communities. Like here, you see Planned Parenthood surgical abortion facilities near minority neighborhoods is 79%. And then Planned Parenthood surgical abortion facilities in other neighborhoods is only 21%. So let's go with that, Cori Bush. Then let's go here. It says from Margaret Sanger herself saying, "We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their rebellious members." This is what Margaret Sanger is, and she created Planned Parenthood. So if we're going to go and say who's killing people, we could say that Margaret Sanger was trying to make a genocide of the Black people and trying to say this is okay to do this for the Black people. I don't know about you, but I don't think we have any reports, any statistics showing that there are fossil fuels in majority of Black communities when we have majority of Planned Parenthood in Black communities where they're aborting children in droves here. And Margaret Sanger, which you guys don't apparently are ill-informed of, or have no idea what the actual history of Planned Parenthood was, and its goal is insanity to me. So again, you're wrong there. So let's go again to more of Cori Bush's actual racism and all that, where she's talking about where she's heaving and hopping of all the situations that has been going on here with the going after Rashida Tlaib, even though she's completely gone insane and they couldn't bang the hammer enough.
A lack of care and a lack of understanding and a lack of seeing the humanity of folks who look like Rashida Tlaib. It's outrageous that my colleagues are blatantly attempting to silence the only Palestinian American representative right here. It's outrageous, but it's not surprising. And let me tell you, it's not surprising because this place is where 1,700 members of Congress, this elected body, enslaved Black people. It's not surprising because they thought it was right. It's not surprising because this is a place where members continue to claim that the insurrection on the Capitol just appeared to look like a normal tourist visit. It's not surprising because this is the place where our Black and brown staff members repeatedly speak of experiencing racism and sexism, Islamophobia, get pushed off at elevators, xenophobia, and more right here in this workplace. This is the place. And let me say this. She mourns for the 1,400 Israelis that lost their lives. She mourns for the 10,000, and she will not stop. No more. No more lies. Ceasefire now. And she takes the death threats that you all send that they
The gentlelady is no longer recognized. The gentleman from Maryland.
To her, the desire to save lives is greater.
Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
That's what I said.
We'll reserve.
So yeah, she goes completely bat insane here and starts going on about all this BS, and it's just like it's like hilarious. At the end of the day, this racist woman, this lady here, is gone, and she's no longer in Congress. She's no longer in Congress. She's no longer in the Senate, and thank God for that. Maybe we could get a more sane Democratic person, if that's even remotely possible. Probably not, but that is at least better than anything that this lunatic has been spouting for the past, I don't know, few years now, and she's gone. She's out, and thank God, because she is an absolute imbecile at the highest order. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted. by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, cause it's algorithmic disease, the social media.